Hello, welcome to Math 1324. This is Chapter 4, Section 2, Example 4, I believe. In this example, we have just a question. It says, Donna DePaul is raising money, not raiding money, for the homeless. She discovers that each church group requires 2 hours of letter writing and 1 hour of follow-up, while for each labor union, she needs 2 hours of letter writing and 3 hours of follow-up. Donna can raise $100 from each church group and $200 from each union local. And she has a maximum of 12 hours of letter writing and a maximum of 16 hours of follow-up available per month. Determine the most profitable mixture of groups she should contact and the most money that she can raise in a month. Okay, good. Notice that in this question there's nothing defined for us other than what needs to happen. So looking through this, let's look at the actual question. We want the most profitable mixture of groups she should contact. It's the mixture of groups that she should contact. Now, what groups are we talking about? We have church groups and we have labor unions, or labor union locals, or whatever you want to say. And the objective is to find the most money that she can raise in a month. That's the objective. So here, I'm going to let Z equal the money raised in a month. And I'm also going to let X1 equal the number of church groups, and X2 will be the number of union locals. And that's defining our variables for us. Okay, so we now need to figure out a couple of conditions. We need, first of all, the objective. How can she figure out how much money to earn? Well, she raises $100 from each church group. So that means that 100x1 plus, and then $200 from each union local. So plus 200x2. Good. That's our objective. We also have a few other constraints of x1 and X2 must both be greater than or equal to 0 because there's no such thing as an anti-church group or an anti-union local. So what we need to figure out now is what are the constraints, aka what's it subject to? Well, if we look at this, she has a maximum of 12 hours of letter writing and 16 hours of follow-up time available per month. So if we think of this, let's think of this first of all as, let me use a different color here. Let's use red for the first one. Oops. Let's use letter writing for red. So for letter writing, we have 2 hours of letter writing for each church group. So it'd be 2x1. And for each union local, it is 2 hours of letter writing. So plus 2x2 needs to be less than or equal to, because she has a maximum amount of time that she can spend per month on this, of 12 hours. And of course this is letter writing. At least technically letter writing hours. Okay, good. Now let's use pink. Pink will represent the number of follow-up hours. So for this one, every church group requires 1 hour of follow-up, and every union local requires 16 hours. Wait, no. Requires 3 hours. And that's less than or equal to the total maximum, which is 16 hours. There we go. Good deal. Is there anything anything else in this that I haven't used? No. Nope. Okay, good deal. This is our question at this point. Now that we have this written down, this is very similar to the questions that we just did in questions 2 and 3, I believe. And so as a result, we're just going to go from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into just a system of equalities. Now notice that we have two inequalities here. So S1 represents letter writing and S2 represents follow-up and number of hours of each. So our system will be this: 2x1 plus 2x2 plus S1 plus 0s2 plus 0z is equal to 12. Then we have x1 plus 3x2 plus 0s1 plus s2 plus 0z is equal to 16. Then for the last one we have our objective, which will give us negative 100x1 negative 200x2 plus 0s1 plus 0s2 plus z, and all of that's going to equal 0. Good. Now remember, it's negative for those because I take these and move those left. Awesome. Now that I have that, I can convert this into my initial simplex tableau. So the initial simplex tableau, notice that there are 3 rows and 6 columns. So this will be a 3 by 6 matrix. So it'll be 2, 2, 1, 0, 0, 12, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0, 16, negative 100, negative 200, 0, 0, 1, 0. Good. Awesome. Here's my initial simplex tableau. At this point, we need to find the pivot, which means we need the pivot column first, followed by the pivot row. Now, to find the pivot column, we look at the indicators, and of the 4 indicators, the smallest or the largest negative, or the smallest number or the most negative is negative 200. So that means that this column is the pivot column. Then we do division. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 16 divided by 3, 5 2/3, so about 5.7. So that means that this is larger than this. So the smallest will be that number there. So this is in fact the pivot row. Which of course means that that right there, that number 3 there, is in fact the pivot. Row 2, column 2. Awesome. This is where we go to the calculator. I'll see you there. Welcome to the calculator. Let's go into matrix, go right to edit, and then this was a 3 by 6, and then type this in: 2, 2, 1, 0, 0, 12, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0, 16, negative 100, negative 200, 0, 0, 1, 0. Awesome. Quit to the home screen and then check it. Make sure that everything is in there correctly. It is. Good. So let's go to program and then pivot. Awesome. So program, pivot. You see the matrix that we're pivoting, and remember it's the row 2, column 2. So enter, then 2 enter, then 2 enter. Done. Go back into matrix, click enter for A to see what happened, and we've got a whole bunch of weirdness, which is the reason I like to do math, enter, enter. Awesome. Good deal. So this is our new matrix, which I'm going to write down. So we have, I'm going to go vertically, so 4/3, 1/3, negative 100 thirds, 0, 0, sorry, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, negative 2/3, 1/3, 200 thirds, 0, 0, 1, 4/3, 16 thirds, 3200 thirds. Awesome. Well, we're not done pivoting, but I want to go ahead and go back to the notes so that we can find the pivot again. I'll see you there. Welcome back to the notes. All I have written here is the matrix that we saw. And the reason I said we're not done is because if you look at the 4 indicators here, there is a negative still. And what that tells me is that this column is the pivot column. I'll go ahead and use a different color for the pivot row. Let's look at division. 4/3 divided by 4/3 will just be the number 1. 16 thirds divided by 1/3, well, you just type that into the calculator, that's 16. So the smallest of these two numbers that's still positive is the number 1. So that means that the first row will be the pivot row. And of course that tells me that 4/3 is the pivot. Row 1, column 1. Alrighty, now that we figured that out, let's go back to the calculator. See you there. Okay, welcome back. Let's go ahead and notice that if you go into matrix A again, it's still just that one that we have here. So let's just go ahead and go to program, pivot. Notice again, still the same one. And it's row 1, column 1. So row 1, column 1. And it says it's done, so let's go back into matrix, look at A again, and this is our new matrix. And again, notice that the indicators, all of them are not negative. Non-negative is what I usually say. And so we're done. This is the final simplex tableau. So with this final tableau, we'll be able to read the solution. Let me go ahead and write this down. I'll do this vertically. And the 0, 0, 1, followed by 1, 5, 1100. Awesome. I'll see you in the notes. Welcome back to the notes. What you should see here is the matrix that we saw for that final tableau. And on this, what I want us to realize, first of all, is that this and this are both going to be 0. So let's go ahead and read off what the actual solutions would be. We have x1, x2, s1, s2, and z. So x1 is 1, so equals 1. So x1 equals 1. x2 is here, so 1x2 equals 5. Notice that S1 and S2 are both zeros here. And then the Z 1z equals 1100. Good deal. So, what do all of these represent? Remember, x1 are the number of churches. x2 is the number of union locals. S1 represented the number of letter writing hours. S2 represented the number of follow-up hours. And Z, of course, is the money. Okay. So just a reminder here. And the question that we wanted to answer was determine the most profitable mixture of groups she should contact and the most money she can raise in a month. So, the most money she can raise in a month is $1,100. The mixture of groups is one church group and 5 union locals. There we go. And that's what the question is asking us. Now notice that we also see that she actually has no time left over. That's taken up all of her time. No hours left for letter writing and no hours left for follow-up. Alrighty. Well, that's pretty much it for this question. It was a nice, fun, long question. I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Have fun.